fact, I'm going to come back to the point on quality because that said in Ashwini's slide that's one of the areas that there's still some room for improvement. But, Jenette, you're here, and the big announcement today is, of course, what Boeing and TAL, Ashwini just made that announcement. 13,000 floor beams have already been successfully supplied. What does this now mean? How important is this order? And what does it also mean for Boeing's sort of business relationship with your suppliers in India?
I think we're really at a tipping point. And that great award is an illustration of the potential of scaling business. So I think, as Prat had mentioned, over the last decade, we've been learning from each other. I've had the honor of hosting you in our factories, and then you've hosted us. And so with that collaboration, we're learning from each other about our processes, about our language. And now, throughout the decade, we've learned that not only do you have the potential, but you've proven capability. And as many of you continue to grow in interest, and our aerospace business in the world tends to attract a little bit of participation. You may well know that our business in the next, just look through the next decade, we have over $7 trillion worth of business that we intend to go capture. So as the Boeing company looks at the addressable market for aircraft and defense, we find that we need to be able to scale with new partners. And so I think, again, we're at that tipping point where we've learned there's an ecosystem here. We have a stronger in-country team. Prat, Ashwani, the team here has just developed a great skill set to make sure that we understand the details of the value stream. So in our business, details really matter, details about quality. But I'd also just add that our expectations are also for a balanced business. And so when we think about the performing business, it's how do we keep our people safe? So safety is an element of performance, not just quality, on-time delivery, but also predictive and proactive views of our collaboration. So that proactive communication is so important. And that it's okay to clarify. It's okay that we don't have to assume what we're speaking to each other. And a balanced view of performance is so critical. And then I think the last thing I would add to that, I was so impressed with some of the factories that I've been to where your post-processing has been clearly with the environment in mind. So as you're looking to advance the industry in India, as you're thinking about your infrastructure, I see elements of you thinking about a sustainable environment. And so that is advanced thinking that I'm really pleased to see in country.
Prat, Ashwini mentioned this is the biggest manufacturing contract. So could you help quantify this, the announcement between Boeing and TAL?
Well, unfortunately, the commercial details we don't throw out in the public domain. Okay. But all I can tell you is that it's substantial, it's long-term, it's game-changing.
You can say a little bit more in terms of... I'm sure if you try a little harder, there might be some more information.
It's multi-hundred million.
It's a multi-hundred. See, we're getting there. Yeah. Multi-$100 million. All right. Jenette, since you mentioned the potential and the unique opportunity Indian suppliers have to sort of address the market and the business that's going to come out of Boeing in the coming years, currently it's $1 billion. That has tripled in the last few years. Any number that you may have internally set for yourself, or that you expect from sourcing from India going forward? I'll take that to Prat as well. Okay, Prat, you want to go first?
I am very hungry. I want to get as much as we can get, right?
Right.
It's really, we don't really set internal targets as such, right? We want to accelerate as much as we can. It's all about creating capacity to absorb the kind of work that's in place here, right? So, who would have thought? If I told you that you're going to quadruple in last, 3 years ago, somebody would have laughed at me that you were smoking to me, right? So I am not here to say set targets. We just want to get ready to deliver what's expected from a business performance point of view. And as long as we're delivering, Jenette is very kind to, put more work here. So I am here to work with our supplier partners to make sure they're ready to capture as much share of our spend as possible.
He's not giving me a number, Jenette, but if you could, what is your message to the team in India?
Well, here's how I think about it. The Boeing company has aspirations to grow significantly. And just in terms of numbers, let's just say we want to double the size of the company. And so it's not just about moving work from here and there. It's that we're trying to grow our business. And so I think I have great hope and, aspirations for the country to grow with us. So I gave you a little number there.
Double. Yeah, as a financial journalist, numbers matter a lot to us. But Jenette, you've been in Boeing for 29, 30 years now, and with your overall global experience, what would your larger message be to the suppliers? As India, even as a government, we've been trying to, we've been unveiling and unleashing a lot of these programs to make India more competitive. But if you were to look at India more strategically, what are maybe the 2 or 3 key areas that you would think that India perhaps will have to work upon to become even more competitive?
So here's maybe an observation. I think India has incredible talent, incredible thinking, but I think it runs the full spectrum. So on one hand, you have your Jugaad and your hackathons. Did I say that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I say that right? Okay, so I've learned a new
for most of you may not know, it means
word.
frugal engineering. And
then there's also this matter of discipline. And, in manufacturing, especially the principles of lean manufacturing, the discipline and process is incredibly important as a baseline to running the business. And so I see both ends of the spectrum, but I would just suggest as you install lean principles and standard work, that discipline is so incredibly important to quality, and then you can innovate on top of that. So I think the potential, not just the potential, but the challenge that we have today is how do we manage both ends of the spectrum, because you have talent, certainly talent to go both ways. And in the age of technology, where we're changing rapidly every year, how do we transform our businesses in a disciplined manner so that we continue to operate with the highest quality in mind? So quality first, I think first. Then there's also this technology application. How does that happen faster in more innovative ways? I've suggested to some of your businesses that you're in the best position to really integrate the system and to showcase and be a model for a factory of the future. So we, whether you call it manufacturing 4.0 or industry 4.0 or Internet of Things in your factory, I think we have to clarify that, but more important, not just in language, but how it actually operates in the factory. I think that is a really great challenge in front of us.
Before we wrap this up, then maybe I could request both of you then, maybe Jenette, if I could start with you, your larger message now, to the suppliers, as they go back home tomorrow after this 2-day conference, what are the 3 or 4 things that you would hope that, that you would want them to reflect upon?
Well, first I would just really like to express our appreciation. We're grateful for your interest in working with Boeing, not just by being here, but being so willing to come visit us and invite us to your location. So first message would be, thank you. Please continue to do that and tell your story. Now, the second message I would like to leave you with is there is tremendous opportunity in front of us. And not only in terms of the business, but the potential for new product in the future, where technology is really going to, I think, going to have an inflection point in aerospace.
Prat, your final message, things that you expect, and some of the deliberations, we're going to hear more of it over the next 2 days, but 2 or 3 key things that you want them to go back home with?
I would say it's about skill. It's about scale, it's about partnership, it's about winning together. We are here together to capture this great opportunity which just Jenette highlighted. I think that we are in a great industry. We are in the best company in this industry. We are in the perfect time at the cusp of a great acceleration, and we are in the right geography.
Prat, Jenette, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Prat, thank you so much, and thank you very much, everybody.